By the late 80s, more specifically late 1988, Guns N' Roses were one of the hottest rock bands around, topping the charts all over the world while delighting fans. Now, sadly though, 1989 was a pretty terrible year for the group. They only played a handful of shows, the band members were drifting apart, being off the road, and most of them were falling deeper into alcohol and drug dependency. And the band was also struggling to get into the studio to create their full-length follow-up to 1987's Appetite for Destruction. But by late 1989, the Rolling Stones offered the Gunners a chance to open 4 shows for them in their hometown of Los Angeles. It should have been a huge shot in the arm for the group, but the band nearly imploded on stage in front of the entire world. The Stones were huge influences on the Gunners, and by this time in their career, the Stones were elder statesmen, and Guns N' Roses were following in their decadent footsteps. The Stones had a history of inviting up-and-coming artists to open for them for their stadium shows, including Prince, Santana, and Leonard Skinner, who had previously opened for them. Guns N' Roses initially turned down the first 2 offers the Stones made. The Stones offered Guns N' Roses $50,000 per show for 4 performances in Los Angeles, but it would be Guns N' Roses manager Alan Niven who would come up with the idea that Guns N' Roses should be paid $250,000 for each show, totaling $1 million. The Stones eventually agreed. Now, despite all the group's internal problems and their lack of shows together in 1989, Guns N' Roses were enthusiastic about the concerts. In an interview that Axl Rose gave to the LA Times, he noted the impact of the Rolling Stones on his band, saying, "We have a lot of influences, but the Stones are definitely a big part of it. As a band, we haven't seemed to wear out the Stones yet. We keep learning more and more from them about the fact that you're able to do anything that you want in your music." Now, a week before the Stones gigs, Guns N' Roses decided to book 2 warm-up shows at the Cat Club. It was during one of these shows they also shot the music video for It's So Easy from their debut album Appetite for Destruction. Reportedly, Rose told guitarist Izzy Stradlin that he was quitting the band at these shows, and this really didn't raise any alarms because Axl quit the band every 3 days at this point in time. Apart from the drug problems, there was another problem that the band was dealing with. They were still reeling from the fallout from their song One in a Million, which was released the prior year on their EP GNR Lies. Featuring racially charged and homophobic lyrics, there was much outcry in the press and the public over the content of the song. And on October 18, 1989, Guns N' Roses played their first of 4 opening sets for the Rolling Stones. All of the Guns N' Roses members were there, except for Axl. The band's manager, Alan Niven, started to panic and asked the Stones' production chief, Brian Ahern, for help. The LAPD would be brought in with Niven remembering, "I want you to immediately send 2 no-questions-asked uniforms to address this. Get the occupants out of the condominium in any which way they can and bring them right here in handcuffs if necessary." And according to Niven, within minutes, a pair of police officers were banging on Axl Rose's front door. Mick Wall recounted in his Guns N' Roses book, Last of the Giants, The True Story of Guns N' Roses, the startled occupants were herded down to the cruiser. Sirens wailing and all lights ablaze, the police car sliced through the evening traffic. And once the police dropped Rose off at the Coliseum, the singer would be made even more agitated and upset about what transpired earlier that night. So in addition to featuring Guns N' Roses on the bill, the Stones also had Living Colour open for them, and the night's first band, Living Colour, had delivered a speech on stage, clearly in response to the Guns N' Roses song One in a Million. Guitarist Vernon Reid spoke about the evils of racism, while also criticizing anybody who justified hate speech, and the audience gave the Living Colour member a standing ovation, while Rose was once again fuming. Now, Guns N' Roses finally took to the stage just before 8 p.m., and the band hadn't even played a song yet when Rose went into a rant saying the following.
Michael, stand up!
Before we start playing, calm down. Calm the fuck down for me. Okay, I'll wait. I am sick and fucking tired of this publicity bullshit about our fucking song, One in a Million, with police and niggers, immigrants and faggots, radicals and racists. I don't give a... give a goddamn fuck what fucking color you fucking are, as long as you ain't no goddamn thief, drug-using, fucking crack-selling piece of shit. I use the word fucking nigger, but that don't mean every black man's a fucking nigger. That means if you go downtown and some fucking asshole's trying to sell you free parking for 15 bucks, kick him in the fucking nuts. I don't give a shit about gay people either, but I don't need some faggot trying to rape me. Immigrants, I don't care what fucking goddamn country you're from. You're in America, just act like it, that's all.
Somebody comes to sit in these spots, we've got to go.
If you fucking got a problem or what color you are and you want to call me a racist, shove your head up your fucking ass.
This wouldn't be the last rant of the night or the most memorable moment of the show. The newspaper The Village Voice, who reviewed the show, claimed the band sounded more ragged than they looked, and at one point during the show, Axl Rose fell off the stage and into the photographer's pit. The singer had been blinded by spotlights and ended up in the pit, but thankfully he was unhurt. 2 security guards helped the frontman back to his feet. And following this event, Rose went into another rant saying the following.
I hate to do this on stage, but I've tried every other fucking way. And unless certain people in this band get their shit together, these will be the last Guns N' Roses shows you'll fucking ever see. Because I'm tired of too many people in this organization dancing with Mr. Goddamn Brownstone.
Suddenly, the band's internal problems and struggles were out in the public. More than 70,000 fans witnessed one of the greatest rock and roll stars calling out his bandmates for their drug use and almost saw the band implode on stage. In 2004's Behind the Music episode on VH1, guitarist Slash said, "I knew it was directed at me because I was really strung out at the time, but it was probably one of the things that made me hate Axl more than anything." Following the band's first show opening for the Stones, Slash was told by Guns N' Roses management that Axl would not show up to the remaining shows unless Slash publicly addressed the band's drug use. Here's what Slash had to say the second night the band opened for the Stones.
Can I just get everybody's attention out here just for a couple seconds? We'll just get it real quiet so you can hear me out for a minute. I just want to make an announcement. I wanted to say that over the years, rock and roll has lost a lot of the great ones, from fucking Elvis and Hendrix and Bonham and Joplin and a lot of those people, you know, fucking rock and roll and excess is synonymous. I know a lot of you people have been around for a long time that are out in the crowd tonight. And you've seen it come and go and you know the story. And then a lot of you younger people are just now getting hip to what drugs are all about. A lot of fucking attention's been brought to this band about, you know, some of the excesses that we get into. And, you know, a lot of that press is bullshit and a lot of stuff is true, but it's a lot of unnecessary time and attention brought to something that's basically, in the long run, just ain't that happening. I mean, it's a lot of fun when you get into it and you have a good time, but when it comes down to life and people's futures and what existing is supposed to be all about, it just ain't that fucking happening, you know? Anyway, last night almost saw the very fucking last gig of this band. Guns N' Roses worked for a fucking long time to get to this point. I mean, me and Steven used to walk down these fucking corridors to see Aerosmith and Van Halen and the Stones and shit. Yeah, but hold on. And we used to dream about actually getting up on stage at this place and fucking doing the same thing. And we're actually here. And I was sitting up on stage last night, not even fucking realizing where I was at. wanted to just let you guys know that fucking smack and all that crap, it's just not what it's all about. Guns N' Roses is going to be one of those weak fucking bands that falls apart over it. So this is the song dedicated by me and whoever else wants to fucking stand up and fucking say something against it, man. It's something called Brownstone, and I'm just fucking sticking up and it's over.
Now, bassist Duff McKagan wrote in his 2011 autobiography, "I shrank, I was so embarrassed. Once Axl took his concerns public, the times of us being a gang, us against the world, were over. We played the rest of the show, but it was half-hearted effort at best. Afterwards, and really for the remainder of our career, we just went our separate ways." And that night officially rang the bell for the end of an era in Guns N' Roses. Now, the band would soldier on and finish the remainder of their show commitments, but the Rolling Stones would deliver another great show, and singer Mick Jagger paused and commented on their opening act, saying, "I think Axl did a good show," seemingly tongue-in-cheek saying, "but I wish he'd shut up and play." Now, prior to the Rolling Stones having Guns N' Roses open for them, the Stones had to address the controversy about the song One in a Million, and here's a brief snippet of a press conference they gave where they addressed the concern.
I have Guns N' Roses when there's been so much controversy over their lyrics with references to blacks and homosexuals and immigrants.
Because we want to appeal more to the gay black market.
That concludes today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe. And as always, let me know which stories you'd like to see me feature in future episodes of my channel. Take care.